Our top story. And this is about two comments 7 years apart by Aamir Khan. Barely 2 days ahead of the release of his film Lal Singh Chaddha, Aamir Khan expressed his regret for criticizing India in 2015. His expression of regret came on the back of a boycott call announced by filmgoers on social media ahead of the film's release. Many are upset that Aamir chose to suggest in 2015 that intolerance in India had risen to such a level that his then wife was actually thinking of leaving the country.
When I sit at home and talk to Kiran, Kiran and I have lived all our lives in India. For the first time, Kiran says, should we move out of India? Now, that's a disastrous and very big statement for Kiran to make to me. She fears for her child. She fears for, what the atmosphere around us will be. She feels scared to open the newspapers every day. That does indicate that there is a sense of growing disquiet.
अगर मैंने किसी का दिल दुखाया है किसी चीज़ से तो मुझे उस बात का दुख है और मैं किसी का दिल नहीं दुखाना चाहता हूँ और आई थिंक बाकी अगर लोगों को जिनको फिल्म नहीं देखनी है तो मैं उस बात की इज्जत करूँगा क्या कर सकते हैं लेकिन मैं चाहूँगा कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग फिल्म देखें हमने बड़े मेहनत से फिल्म बनाई है और सिर्फ मैं नहीं हूँ फिल्म जो बनती है वो सैकड़ों लोगों के मेहनत से बनती है So I hope people like it.
But it seems that Aamir's expression of regret wasn't enough to quell the anger against him and his film. There is no end to boycott calls against the movie, with right-wing groups staging protests in different parts of the country. Protest was also witnessed in Varanasi, where Yuva Bharati Kashi group distributed pamphlets outside theatres asking people to not watch the film. There was a mixed response from the people outside theatres. While few backed the boycott call, others said that this is not the way.
लाल सिंह चड्ढा देखने जा रहे हैं अभी न्यूज़ पे देख रहे हैं बड़े विवाद हो रही है वो सब देखें ऐसा इसमें क्या है जो इतना विवाद बढ़ रहा है कि फिल्म में क्या दिखाया गया है उसी वजह से ज्यादा इच्छा बढ़ रही है देखने की।
तो आपको लगता है कि जो विवाद हो रहा है उसकी वजह से लोग ज्यादा फिल्म देखेंगे?
हमको तो लगता है जब विवाद होता है तो आदमी जाता है।
बहुत अच्छी 100 में 100 बहुत अच्छी मूवी है। मिस्टर परफेक्शनिस्ट कहलाते हैं और बाखूबी निभाया है रोल को। आप लोग जाके देखिए बहुत अच्छी मूवी बहुत स्लो पिच पे है मूवी बहुत अच्छे से हर एक चीज दिखाई है बहुत अच्छा रोल दिखाया है।
क्योंकि इन्होंने भगवान का वो पीके बनाई थी तो भगवान का भी इन्होंने विरोध किया था काफ़ी ज़्यादा भगवान का अपमान किया था तो इसलिए अभी कोई तो देख नहीं रहा है और बॉलीवुड को इसलिए नहीं कोई देख रहा है क्योंकि अभी काफ़ी लोग बॉलीवुड से वही है खुश नहीं है। हाँ
The reasons I see the movie is not going well because first of all I think it's a remake of already a Hollywood movie and also here in people in India there are so many issues with the person attached. I think that should not be the view because there are so many people attached with the movie and not just the actor. So many lives should not be affected just because of one person.
Amid the row over this film, Supreme Court lawyer Vineet Jindal has also filed a police complaint against Aamir Khan and the makers of the film. The lawyer has alleged that the film hurt sentiments of Hindus and expressions used to promote enmity between different groups. Meanwhile, former British cricketer Monty Panesar also jumped into the row, asking for a boycott of the film because it not just humiliates the armed forces but also insults Sikhs.
लाल सिंह चड्ढा के बारे में ये कहना हो कि ऑडियंस फिल्म को सूंघ लेती है जो बॉलीवुड में आम बात होती है और ऑडियंस को पता चला कि फिल्म के अंदर एंटरटेनमेंट वैल्यू नहीं है और इस वजह से लाल सिंह चड्ढा को इतनी अच्छी ओपनिंग नहीं मिली। दूसरी बात ये भी है कि लाल सिंह चड्ढा को एक जो बॉयकॉट का जो माहौल बना हुआ है उसका सामना करना पड़ा और उस वजह से भी फिल्म के कलेक्शन पर असर पड़ा। लाल सिंह चड्ढा के अंदर कई चीज़ें ऐसी है कि जो ऑडियंस को हजम नहीं होती है। फिल्म में भारतीय सेना का जिस तरह से प्रस्तुतिकरण किया गया हुआ है वो ऑडियंस को हजम नहीं होता।
All right, so is the boycott of a film a democratic way of protest or is this an intimidatory tactic? Remember, the film hasn't done very well since its release. Joining us now, Rashmi Samant, former Student Union President, Oxford University and human rights activist, Ravi Srivastav, political analyst and advocate, Tausif Ahmed. Rashmi Samant, intimidatory?
Well, I think the actors in question here have always selectively picked, they have picked scripts which have selectively, villainized one community over and over and over for a decade now, for more than a decade now. So I see this as a way for the people to kind of oppose that and for the people to express their opinions about this sort of selective villainization that has been happening over time. Secondly, I believe that the stars, the Bollywood, the actors, they've been raised to a pedestal which has given them a sort of God complex. We know that many actors have gotten away with homicide, with assault, with murder and whatnot.
Okay.
And this kind of, overhyping of these actors, it gives them that power to get away with it. But currently, I think there's this sort of humanization also happening.
Okay, so answer that, Tausif Ahmed. For too long, a community was targeted and mocked. Now they are peacefully hitting back.
It is not about community or anything that they are saying. You see, Aamir Khan is a star. World knows him. India knows him. He's a very, very popular person, and he has a huge name. And there are people who wants to come to limelight using Aamir Khan's name by making one or two comments. Then it is okay. It is open for them to grab those.
No, to be fair, I don't really think Monty Panesar needs any fame off the back of Aamir Khan.
Absolutely. Monty Panesar wants to get some limelight, and therefore he has made this comment. There's no other reason for him to make these comments.
Okay, Anurag Naidu, are you and Monty Panesar and Rashmi Samant all looking for relevance and fame, riding on the back of Aamir Khan?
Oh.
It's very funny. It's very funny, Padmaja. On one side, he's saying Aamir Khan doesn't need any fame, and he's saying Monty Panesar on the other side needs any fame. And he's a popular cricketer, and cricket being the most popular sport, in fact, more popular than Bollywood, if I may claim. So Monty Panesar also doesn't need any publicity just by attacking Aamir Khan. And you know what surprises me, Padmaja, is this people who are speaking on behalf of Aamir Khan should also understand what made Monty Panesar make these comments. And these are very articulate. If you read his tweet, these are very articulate comments. So what made him have this opinion? What made millions of other people who are boycotting this film carry this opinion? And this is not something that is an impulsive action. It has been building up over years, over a decade almost, and millions of people are boycotting this film. Why and what made them do this? It's not one kind of an orchestra that been
If there was anything wrong, if there was any objectionable content in this movie, then censor board would have cut that off, would have not allowed this.
Sir, censor board does not have guidelines about what people may find offensive. It only has guidelines about, do you show nudity? Do you show, pornography? Do you show child abuse? These are the kind of guidelines.
Ridiculous.
Religious sentiments, not so much.
You see, each individual has a taste of their own. If they wish to choose to go and watch the movie, they will do. If they don't want to, they will sit back.
That is what they are doing. That is what they are doing. They are not breaking theatres, right? They are saying we won't watch it.
Those who want to get some kind of attention, like Monty Panesar, he wants to grab attention of BJP. Maybe he's secretly willing to become a Rajya Sabha member.
Oh my God.
Come on.
I do not think Monty Panesar knows it just as yet, but he has also been branded a Sanghi. What a world, what a world. Ravi Srivastava, very often when there were creative differences, people said, you don't like something, don't watch it. Now an entire community is saying, okay, we won't watch it. Now what is the problem?
On Monty Panesar, I want to say that Taslima Nasreen is also known as a popular writer across the world. And Taslima Nasreen's tweet says that she could not get a ticket for going to the movie. So there are mixed reactions. Some people like it, some people don't. If you don't like it, you are feeling offended, don't go there. But the fact is, the movie is very well made, and the first day collection is no indication that it's going to flop or any boycott call is going to make any effect to it.
Okay, so all of this boycott is coming to naught, Rashmi Samant. You can keep trying and rallying, but ultimately people are going to watch it. Not for religious or sentiments, but because it's a great movie, says Ravi Srivastava.
Well, I think you can already see the trends with Bollywood. People are actually actively not watching, movies made by these stars. And these movements are actually, translating to something. I can't do anything if people are in denial of facts and, of figures. trends are clearly speaking that, the people have had enough. And this is not something that's happening overnight. It's been in the works for over years now, over a decade almost.
Okay.
And I think it's really highly unethical for the actors to keep picking up scripts which go after one particular community and keep making comments.
Madam, it was watched by everyone. Oh my God, nobody protested.
Going after people.
What was
I think
God? Do you remember? Do you remember? Oh my God! It
No,
was
I don't
all
remember.
Hindu religion ridiculed. It was ridiculed, and people watched it in hordes. This is entertainment. Why you connect always the
Let me tell you.
Okay, so here's the thing, Ravi Srivastava, and I remember the film Oh My God, and at that time also some people said that we are upset, and they were told if you are upset, then don't watch it. So today with Lal Singh Chaddha, people are actively saying, okay, we will make it a point to not watch it. That is the difference. At that time, people just sat in their houses and said, nobody is listening to us. Now in order to be heard, people are asserting themselves. That's the difference. But is this boycott democratic or intimidatory? That's our question. We are trying to get the viewers' voices because ultimately they will be the ones who will watch it or who will boycott it. Mahesh is with us on the phone line from Mangalore. What do you think, Mahesh?
Good evening, Padmaja. I want to share my view on this thing. And that is, it is not only the community. This movie has insulted the armed forces. N number of Mahavir Chakras, Shaurya Chakra, the Sikh regiment has got. And, they have blatantly insulted the armed forces. In any other country, this would not have been tolerated. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mahesh. Mr. D.K. Ojha from Mumbai. Yes, Mr. Ojha.
Can I speak in Hindi?
Absolutely, Ojha ji, बोलिए.
मैडम, सबसे पहले तो मेरी आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप रवि श्रीवास्तव को जरा बोलिए कि दूसरे पैनलिस्ट को हैकल नहीं करें. एटलीस्ट प्लीज रिक्वेस्ट आपसे.
ओके मिस्टर श्रीवास्तव, आपको सुन रहे हैं, मुस्कुरा भी रहे हैं. आई होप ही टेक्स योर एडवाइस. गो ऑन मिस्टर ओझा.
हाँ, दूसरा मुझे ये बोलना है कि बार बार ये हमको जो आमिर खान है, हिंदुओं को ये इतना करने के बाद बार बार माफी मांगते हैं, तो ऐसी जरूरत क्यों उनको पड़ती है? ऐसा करते हैं क्यों काम ऐसे?
ओके, ऐसा काम क्यों करते हैं? मोहनदास जी पालाकाड से हमारे साथ हैं. मिस्टर मोहनदास, if people feel that they are hurt, should they boycott or should they just ignore?
No, they are these Bollywood fellows continuously assailing the Hindus. Why can't the Hindus retaliate? We have got every right to retaliate.
Okay. Jagdish from Faridabad also there with us. What do you make of the argument of creative liberty? Creativity में हर तरीके की फिल्में बनती हैं.
Hey Padmaja, this is Jagdish
from
Faridabad. Hey Padmaja, I just want to share on my view on this movie, what Aamir Khan has made. Lal Singh Chaddha definitely should boycott because every time when he made the movie, on any movie, he always demeaned the Hindu gods. Like in PK, he was showing that Lord Shiva is running away from bathroom. What this nonsense is? So definitely we should boycott this movie, and all Hindus should united as we are already getting united.
Okay, thank you very much, Jagdish, for calling in. Before I take in another viewer, Gopal Krishna, Ravi Srivastava wants to respond. Yes, Mr. Srivastava.
I want to say that why the particular group only that these scholars are being called? Why not from the other minority communities and other religions and other groups? Why only one particular section scholars are being taken?
Sir, these are the people who are calling in, for heaven's sake. I mean, you can't be looking at conspiracy everywhere.
Like that, it appears.
Well, it appears wrong to you. If people are calling, if somebody feels that they are being repeatedly targeted, they are calling in. Now, there also you sense a conspiracy.
You see the reaction, and you see the reaction. It is all one-sided.
But maybe that's because one side feels they are being targeted, sir. Don't you get it? Maybe one side feels it's getting targeted.
Not getting the ticket. People are overwhelmingly going to the movie.
Anurag Naidu, why are Hindus only the ones who are complaining all the time? Films like this are made for everyone.
Padmaja, I think we should concede and we should tell Mr. Srivastav to look into social media. Every platform of social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, people are bouncing with comments. People are throwing comments left, right, and center. You see the anger on social media, sir. You will feel, you will yourself understand sir, you need to, sir, please let me speak. Sir, please let me speak. If you go yourself to social media, any social media platform, you will see the outburst of the people, which is unprecedented. And this is because, as Padmaja rightly said, and I want to support again, that we have seen PK, we have seen other movies, we have seen the statement it made in 2015 about Kiran Rao, his wife, and we have seen all his emotions in the national media. And this is the time when we want to make this point heard loud and clear. India is united better than ever before.
Okay, India is united in its sentiment. Let me try and get in at least two more of our viewers who are waiting patiently. Mr. Gopal Krishna, go on, sir.
Yes, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
See, there are two things. One is what he has done, and it's apology. He has insulted the Hindu sentiment. He has insulted the Hindu rituals in his earlier movie PK. He has never apologized for that. And I understand there are some scenes where he has insulted Hindu rituals once again in this movie. And he has insulted the armed forces, showing that the soldiers are dead, and he has insulted the Sikhs. So everybody in India should boycott his movies, not just Hindus, Indians also. Now his apology. He has given a left-handed apology, saying that he says if anyone is hurt, he could have said, he should have said, I am safe in India now. It was a mistake, I said. That is an apology. Again, he should have said, I insulted the Hindu sentiments in earlier movies, and I'm sorry. This is an apology, not if anyone is hurt.
Okay, a backhanded apology which hasn't done much. Mr. Vishwanath is also with us on the phone line. Go on, Mr. Vishwanath, and then I'll bring in Tausif Ahmed and Rashmi Samant. Yes, Mr. Vishwanath. Okay, I don't think Mr. Vishwanath is there with us. What do you make of this, Rashmi Samant? An apology has happened. And are we being too harsh? There are other people also associated with the film. Today it is Aamir Khan. Tomorrow what? We'll do it with Shah Rukh Khan, then with Irfan Khan. His past movies, people will stop watching. Where does it end?
Well, it ends when creative liberty is uniformly applied across all communities and not just used to selectively target one. That is when it will stop. Here, nobody is against creative liberty because, as you said in the past, movies have been made which have, criticized Hindus, which has, made a mockery of them. But then it still worked because we were of the hope that, it's going to be equally applied to everybody else, that, this sort of hypocrisy won't be maintained. But when there is hypocrisy, then what happens is, one community gets villainized over and over and over again, and then it translates to something negative for them in the society. So that is what is happening right now. It will only stop when there is uniformity of creative liberty.
Okay, so with creative liberty, people have been very liberal, people have been tolerant, and people have been patient. But if peaceful opposition is the only way to be heard, isn't that what this boycott is? This debate remains open. Thank you very much, all gentlemen, Rashmi Samant, for having joined me. Remember, it's only just been 2 days since the release of Lal Singh Chaddha. Too early to call a judgment, but still the trends seem to indicate something very definite. Quick break.